How commonly do you actually achieve your goals? If you're anything like me, whenever life starts to get a little busy, that's when you start to stop pursuing your goals because they start to become the last priority. I know that this is something I personally struggled with a lot during college and when I first transitioned into the job market. With so much of our day-to-day being dedicated to our jobs, it can sometimes feel difficult to pursue personal goals. But I personally found a system that works really well for me, and as long as I stay consistent with it, it pushes me towards achieving my goals on a regular basis. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Tyler Warlow, and I make videos on things I wish I knew when I was younger. All of these videos focus around ways to improve your life through your confidence, capabilities, and overall happiness. In today's video, I figured I would cover the method that I personally use that helps me to move myself towards my goals. It's a fairly simple system that involves regularly reviewing your goals because a big reason that a lot of people fail to achieve their goals is because their goals actually lack visibility. So whenever life starts to get a little too busy or hectic, they stop looking at their goals and then they forget what they were doing in the first place and fall off the wagon. This is by no means a method that I developed myself. It was just something that I found a few years ago that personally works for me. If that sounds interesting to you, let's go ahead and jump into the video. The first thing that you're going to want to go ahead and do is set some of your annual goals. It doesn't matter if it is the beginning of the year or you're halfway through it. Just go ahead and set a few goals for yourself that you would like to achieve by the end of the year. Now, it's important that you pick goals that are actually your priority so you don't overload yourself with goals and end up failing to achieve any of them. This is actually a subject that I've talked about in previous videos where people just have way too many goals. And because they have so many goals, their efforts are spread pretty thin and they fail to achieve any of them. I myself have dealt with this in the past, especially when I was in college, because I had a limited amount of time and resources, and trying to pursue a bunch of different goals while also trying to get through college was not necessarily realistic. So make sure you pick a few key ones that you want to get by the end of the year, and the rest of them, set them aside for maybe a future year. Once you've decided on a few annual goals, these are going to be the goals that you will then break down into slightly smaller steps called quarterly goals. So every 3 months, you're going to want to have goals that help move you towards those annual goals. A lot of times when we set the large annual goals, it's hard to know where to start. So by breaking it down into the smaller, more achievable goals, it's going to help you continue to make progress on it. And that's going to be the overall basis of this method. It's going to be taking larger goals and breaking them down into smaller, more digestible chunks, doing that on a regular basis, and then doing a few other action items that will help you to visualize and consistently move towards your annual goals. Now that you've gotten an idea of what your quarterly goals are, we're going to start wanting to move into our weekly preview. The weekly preview is a set of actions that you are going to take at the beginning of each week, usually taking about 20 to 30 minutes. But first off, you're going to want to start by reviewing last week's goals. So obviously the first week that you do this is not going to apply because you won't have any goals from last week. But on any weeks after the first week, you're going to start this weekly preview by going over and looking at your weekly goals and determining, what is it that I did well? What is it that I can improve upon? Try to obtain an understanding of what goals that you were able to accomplish and why. In terms of the goals that you didn't meet, try to understand why. Was it because you lacked the time for the week? Was it that you procrastinated because you actually didn't really enjoy the task that much? You want to try and figure out the root cause behind why you weren't able to achieve a specific goal. Once you've reviewed the goals that you were successful at, you're going to also want to make notes of what you're going to continue doing and why. These are going to be the things that are going to help continue to push you towards meeting your goals on a regular basis. Because if something works, you want to make sure that you make note of it and repeat it. Now that you've gone ahead and reviewed the previous week, you're going to go ahead and plan out this week. Go ahead and determine what your top 3 priorities for the week are going to be. This could be a personal project that you've been working on, such as editing a YouTube video, or it could be something that's important to daily life, such as going to the bank and getting some bank statements so that way you can get a mortgage. Whatever it is, if it's important and it needs to get done this week, make sure it ends on your top 3. The top 3 are going to be the most important things that you need to get done this week, despite any of the other circumstances that life throws at you. Once you've got the weekly pages set, that's when you can start moving into the daily planning. This is where you're going to do a daily review of your goals and what you need to get done to continue pushing you towards meeting those annual and quarterly goals that we already talked about. I recommend splitting this into 2 different parts. First, you're going to have your daily big 3, and then you're going to have your running to-do list. So your daily big 3 is just like the weekly big 3 that we talked about, where you're going to determine the top 3 priorities that you have for the day to get done. Now, this might not mean that you necessarily get them all done, but these are the top 3 items that you want to get done despite everything else on your list. So if it's something that has to get done today, then make sure that it is on those top 3. If you have a bunch of administrative tasks, but they can hold off, then hold off on them. You want to make sure that you actually get the most important things done, and that's what your daily big 3 is going to be for. Now, if you manage to get everything on your daily big 3 done, that's when you can move over to your living to-do list. Your living to-do list is essentially what it sounds like. It is a to-do list where you actively keep track of all the different things that you need to do. If you think of something throughout the day that needs to be done, make sure that you put it on this to-do list so you don't lose track of it. This list is going to continue to build throughout the days, but let's say you accomplished your big 3, that's when you can start crossing things off of this active to-do list and moving on to these less important tasks. But in the next days, let's say you get 2 out of your big 3 accomplished. What you're going to do is draw from that living to-do list as the priorities for the next day. So you'll take 1 or 2 things off of that list and they're going to become one of your items for your top big 3 for the next day. By doing this, you're going to be constantly evaluating what needs to be done and what is most important towards helping you move towards your goals. By consistently doing this on a daily basis, you're going to make progress towards your goals, even if it is only a little bit at a time. By completing this daily exercise as well as the weekly exercise that we already talked about, your efforts are going to compound and you're going to start seeing yourself make progress towards your goals probably faster than you anticipated. Usually the reason that people don't make the progress on their goals that they were hoping for is that they are not consistently moving towards those goals. This planning method helps you to consistently and repeatedly see what you need to do to move towards those goals. If you make sure that you do this on a daily basis and a weekly basis, even if it's only a little bit each day, you're going to see that progress. There's a really good book that talks about the compound effect, which the essential summary that I can give you from that book is that even if you only improve 1% each day, you're going to see massive improvements compared to the person who didn't do anything. And that's what the whole point of this method is. It's to help you make that consistent small progress. If you're able to get everything on your list done, that's great and you're going to see even faster progress, but it's to help you keep an active and repeated view on your goals so that you continue to make small and consistent actions towards those goals. I have personally used this method multiple times whenever I found that life was starting to get a little bit too busy and my own goals were starting to fall to the wayside. There's a lot of different planners out there that you can buy that do use the same exact method. I have personally used the Full Focus Planner and the Panda Planner, but there are also others out there that provide this opportunity in a already made book for you at varying price points. However, if you're someone who doesn't really want to spend that money on a formally made planner, you can also either print out your own pages, because you can usually find templates for these kind of things online all over the place, or you can even write it out yourself. I've personally done this same method in a bullet journal style thing. However, one thing to keep in mind is that it will take you more time to do the daily tasks because you're also going to have to write out the templates. So I like the planners because they allow you to take less time on actually having to draw out the templates and more focus on the goals themselves. But if you're strapped for cash and you think this is a method that you want to try, you can try writing them out for yourself. But that's going to bring us to the end of today's video. I hope that y'all found it to be helpful or informative. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel to join me along in this self-improvement journey. If you're interested in more videos like this one where I talk about goal-related topics, be sure to check out this video right here where I talk about what my goals are for 2025. If you're more interested in my most recent stuff, be sure to check out this video right here. But until the next time, this is Tyler Warlow, signing off.